big adventure. But if you're anything like me, something like this or this makes you feel seasick. There are places all around the globe renowned for their gigantic waves, and only the most skilled, brave, and crazy people in the world have the guts to try and conquer them. But the cleverest also make sure to get it on camera. Nazaré Nightmares. Let's start our thrill-seeking hunt in Nazaré, Portugal. Daredevils all over the world know the name of this place because of the sheer size of the waves that are seen off its coast. Like this monster captured on camera back in 2014. Just look at the size of it! But there's actually a lot more going on beneath the water. You see, underneath the surf lies Nazaré Canyon, an undersea canyon which has a maximum depth of about 16,000 feet. Normally, when waves travel towards a shore, they're slowed down as the bottom of the ocean gets shallower. But in Nazaré, the canyon causes the water to get incredibly deep before it's approached to shore, resulting in waves that climb really big really suddenly. That's why world record-breaking surf records are usually made here, like this once 78-foot world record-breaking ride from Garrett McNamara back in 2011. How does he make it look so easy? Well, I'm not so sure about easy. McNamara later revealed that the water hitting him from that height felt like a ton of bricks smashing onto his shoulders. And if you thought that wave was scary, check out this one, surfed by Lucas Chumbo Chianca on February 2017. Between October and March, high winds blowing in from the North Atlantic Ocean generate waves like this, some of which can be over 100 feet tall. So when I tell you that the current world record for largest wave ever surfed is this 80-foot high beast, I expect a standing ovation. This madcap is Rodrigo Cocha, who smashed the previous world record in 2018 by surfing down this gigantic wave. If I was the one attempting a feat like that, the sea wouldn't be blue, it would be brown. Before we look at even more massive waves, make sure to sail on over to that like and subscribe button. I put out new videos every day, so instead of searching the 7 seas for your amazing fact fix, just head on over to Be Amazed and smash that little bell icon so you never miss out on new content. Are you ready for your next adrenaline rush? Let's go! Tsunami Scare. You'd be forgiven for thinking that the power of a massive wave comes only from its height, but footage from the Japanese tsunami of 2011 proves that wrong in a terrifying way. After a magnitude 9.0 earthquake, the Japanese Coast Guard encountered this behemoth wave just 3.3 miles from the shore. But how could a wall of water that long and high just suddenly appear in the ocean? Well, during the earthquake, the seabed on one side of a fault line had suddenly lifted. This lifted a vast expanse of water along with it, called a tsunami front. According to the estimates of the panicked Coast Guards, this particular front was some 30 feet tall, leaving them with no choice but to try and get over it. But then it gets worse. A second wave was suddenly reported less than 1.5 miles from their location. As the earthquake continued to jolt the seabed, it sent out another tsunami front. But this one was apparently even bigger than the one before. With so much force behind them, these massive waves traveled about 6 miles inland. As you can see in this jaw-dropping footage, they damaged almost everything in their wake. Entire villages and towns were swept away, and the Japanese government estimates that 5 million tons of debris were swept offshore. Damage costs from the earthquake and tsunami soared to $300 billion, while 20,000 people were reported dead and another 2,500 missing. Sadly, many are still unaccounted for to this day. Biscay Bedlam. The Bay of Biscay is notorious for its violent storms and large waves because it's exposed to the rough Atlantic Ocean. But even on a calm-looking day, the seas of this bay definitely aren't to be trusted, not even by sturdy oil and chemical tankers. Just take a look. This tanker, called the Pink Coral, was sailing to Rotterdam when it encountered a huge rogue wave that rocked the entire ship from side to side. And that's no small feat, seeing as the Pink Coral is over 100 feet in width. For some perspective, that's almost the same as rocking a Boeing 737 nose to tail. Rogue waves, sometimes called freak or killer waves, are extreme waves whipped up by high winds. These gigantic walls of water can be more than twice the height of the surrounding waves, and as their name suggests, they're almost totally unpredictable. Because if you could foresee such bone-chilling displays of nature, who in their right mind would willingly sail out into them? Not me, that's for sure. Cruise ship chaos. If you ask me, cruises are meant to be relaxing vacations exploring the world by sea. Alas, I've never been on one, mainly because I'm not a 60-year-old divorcee who enjoys cabin fever and terrible buffets. But even I know they shouldn't roll around like this. This is the MV Viking Sky cruise ship, caught in the waves of a terrible storm off the coast of Norway back in 2019, carrying 1,300 passengers and crew when it lost power and was pummeled by the extreme weather. Reports even stated waves in this area reached almost 60 feet in height. Usually, the hulls of these ships are broad enough to prevent big waves from tilting them this badly. But when you consider that the ship itself is only about 100 feet wide and was dead in the water, it's not surprising that it was threatening to do a barrel roll. But MV Viking Sky isn't the only cruise ship to have been challenged by some giant waves. Just take a look at this soul-crushing footage supposedly taken from the bridge of the P&O Andonia, then known as the Sea Princess. This footage, uploaded in 2008, shows a cruise ship dropping down the back of a wave that was so high it caused the bridge crew to smash into the floor. Whilst the descriptions of this footage claims it's the Sea Princess, there are no reports that the ship was caught in these drastic conditions. However, around the same time in 2008, the cruise ship Pacific Sun was caught in a hellscape of 50-knot winds and 25-foot waves, about 400 miles off the coast of New Zealand. CCTV footage shows the tilt of the ship was so steep that furniture was flung across the rooms, and around 40 guests were injured. Are there any self-proclaimed armchair detectives out there who can tell me whether these two bits of footage could actually be from the same event? If you guys have any stories of your own about getting caught in some gnarly weather at sea, let me know down below. I'll grab a paper bag and get back to some of my favorites. Aircraft carrier versus typhoon. Seeing ships and surfers getting battered by waves is one thing, but watching an aircraft carrier battle against the giant waves of a typhoon has to be one of the most macho events ever caught on camera. Around 2008, the USS Kitty Hawk was making its way along the North Pacific Ocean when it encountered Typhoon Fengsheng, with winds of 51 miles per hour that whipped up waves around 38 feet high. Considering this aircraft carrier measures over 200 feet from the waterline to its highest point, these waves were hardly a threat. Although it's pretty incredible to watch something that cost $400 million to build getting thrown about like a toy boat in a bathtub. But with all that money, couldn't they have installed something a little more impressive than those school bus style windshield wipers? Kitty Hawkward. Tanker versus monster waves. If these single giant waves already had you trembling in your boots, imagine facing a whole series of them. Just take a look at this footage of a small bulk carrier ship, which is a kind of merchant ship, taking on the giant waves of a West African storm.